and the value of taking advantage of this window that we have to prepare for. At the same time, if you're the type of person that I am, it's impossible for me to lead people down a path unless I know that that path is 100% real. So if I have any doubts in my mind about something as a leader, it's very difficult for me to go full charge, you know, and try to transfer belief where I myself do not have complete certainty. And being an authentic type of energy. And I think most of the leaders that are working with D.AI.SY are really here because they value the authenticity of the project, the environment of being real. And in the spirit of authenticity, I just want to share this with you guys that I don't think anyone should feel any pressure to fake your belief in this next rollout. I think it's okay to have absolute excitement about what we did the first 4 or 5 days. Absolute excitement about the potential of D.AI.SY, and it can be real. And at the same time, have a very real, healthy hope, but caution when it comes to overpromising this next launch. If I was in your situation and I saw a company miss multiple launch deadlines, finally achieve a launch, only to have the platform fall apart, right? And have to put everything on hold and then be in this waiting game. If I was in your situation, I would have questions. I would be optimistically hopeful, but I would be hesitant to lead people full charge until I knew inside myself that everything was working, that everything was correct. So if you're in that category, my advice to you as a leader is this, is you can absolutely maximize this window that we have right now and be 100% authentic at the same time. And I think this might help some people. I've been sharing this throughout the day today with different teams of leaders, and you can tell the true story. You can tell the true story that, hey, I hope that this D.AI.SY team pulls this off, right? You can say that. I hope with everything in me, I hope they pull this off, because if they do, and this platform comes back and it works 100%, this is going to be the biggest thing that we've already seen. And I know that because in our first 5 days of launch, we broke these records, the platform was broken, et cetera. You have this story to tell, but you can be honest with your network and say, listen, we're waiting to see if they pull this platform off. You want to be ready. You want to be ready to pull the trigger. It's possible that they don't pull this off, and only time will tell, and we will see. But if they do, and I believe that they will, I believe these guys are committed to doing whatever it takes to get this D.AI.SY project off the ground again. If they do pull this off, you want to be ready. You want to be in a position where you're ready. You don't want to miss this. And you can tell that story. You can have people ready, and you can create the same level of excitement. And if you don't have the belief and the certainty that I have, that everything is going to be 100% delivered and 100% working, and you're going to have that to build on. If you don't have that belief right now, it's okay. Don't feel any pressure to fake it, to pretend like, or try to force that. It's okay to be authentic in this situation and in this moment in time that we're in. Now, that being said, I can tell you guys that we are going to deliver a fully 100% error-free back office and everything, and enrollment process, everything in the market. And we're very close. We're very close to launching it publicly. We made a decision that we will not put this platform out there again until it has been triple tested. And so we actually have 3 third-party companies that they just have our backs. They have our backs to make sure that every single bit of coding, every single bit of testing, from the server, the DDoS, the website, the smart contracts, has been done and done with the mindset of where we're going, right? Really tested for that high volume. Until those tests come back with flying colors, and until any final changes and upgrades need to be made so that the platform is bulletproof, we're not going to rush to the market. I wish it was 5 days ago. I wish it was done. But the reality is it was a major task. It was a major task to take a single smart contract and and upgrade it into 3 contracts that all talk to each other. It was a task to have to recode the entire back end when it came to the data log and pulling data off of the blockchain for the reports. There was a mistake that was made there with the development team in the coding method that they used. These were big tasks to come in and basically reconstruct the platform with these fixes. And so with that being said, every single thing has to be retested. And so that's the process that we're in right now. Now, in the next 24 to 48 hours, we will have some real clarity. We'll have some real clarity from the testing agencies that either A, everything's a green light, you guys are good to go, or B, here's a list of things that we feel like need to be fixed or improved before the platform goes live. And until we get those audit/testing reports back, we won't know whether we're launching in the next 2 days or in the next 5 days. We won't know the details of that. So in the next 24 to 48 hours, we should have all of that information back, and we'll know really a clear picture of where we stand and what our timeline is. So just being super transparent with you guys on the process. It's frustrating because I hoped that we would have launched 5 days ago. That was the original target that the development teams had. But when they got into the actual coding and the process, it was a longer process than what anybody anticipated. So this is where we are. The flip side is I am so convinced that we will see more momentum in the relaunch, the reopening of D.AI.SY than we did in those first 5 days. And there's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that there will be people who join D.AI.SY for this next opening, and they're going to outproduce the momentum that the top leaders had in those first 5 days. We're going to see bigger stories created, bigger momentum created. The other thing that kind of is really neat is the fact that because of the design of this model, any other smart contract or any other type of affiliate program out there that I know of, if something happened in the whole program, the whole front door of the program got shut down, most of those projects would be over. Here's what's incredible. Even though we're going all the way to the finish line, if this was it, if we came back and said, guys, we can't do it, it's done. D.AI.SY had a 5-day lifespan. It's not true, because every single person who contributed to D.AI.SY has money in live trading and has equity in Endotech. So it's kind of a crazy thought, right? Even though we are far from done and the relaunch is going to be the biggest thing ever, the reality is even if D.AI.SY were done on the front end, no more new money coming in, every single person that joined D.AI.SY is going to win, even if the front doors were closed forever. So obviously they're not. Obviously we're opening the floodgates of the front doors, and that's the reality. But it's a cool feeling to know that this business model is designed to have value even beyond new people joining. And I think that's a pretty cool part of the story as well.
Jeremy, thank you for that. I'd like to let's go ahead and that's fantastic. I mean, we've got hundreds and hundreds of people starting in here, obviously viewing this today. Thank you from all around the world. We've got some panelists of about 10 panelists. They're some of the best that I've seen in this industry. I mean, I know many of them. I know of some of them, and you got 6-figure, 7-figure earners here. You got people like myself that make tens of millions. Yuri and Kevin and Hugh and Frank. I mean, these guys, they're all legends. So, I'd like to kind of open it up to the panel, let them ask some questions. You guys are just super. Thanks for being on here, guys. And why don't we open it up with Kevin? Kevin, turn over to you real quick.
Yeah, I'm just super excited. The calls have been great. We're with you. I like your transparency, Jeremy, showing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Way more of the good, obviously. And you've just been doing a fantastic job. What I realize and what I try to convey to our team, which is in the thousands now, pushing tens of thousands soon as we get open back up and see all the things that are happening. You can't even judge the magnitude of it because so many different leaders are on board and they each have their own groups. You're seeing groups of 1,000, subgroups of 800. But you guys are taking on a Herculean task. I mean, you're really doing something different. A lot of the smart contracts that I've seen, as you know, I've been investigating them heavily for the past 8 months. It's like someone comes in for $1,000, the upline makes $1,000. Someone comes in for $1,000, the upline makes. It's very simple. And with you guys paying 10 levels, so finally the leverage is back. That's what's attracting a wider range of people. So thank you for that. And with the bonus pools, which is something also new to the smart contracts, as far as I know, is also, it's just a huge undertaking. So take your time. It reminds me of a time about 2 years ago, back when we could all fly. And I was in a big rush to get to Vegas. I already caught a last minute plane and it was delayed. They had engine trouble. I'm like, come on, just get this thing in the air. And then I started thinking, it's like, am I really that desperate to get there an hour earlier? Have a piece fall off halfway over Idaho or something, So yeah, it's frustrating right now, take an extra day or two, but for the kind of money that I think we're all gonna make, not just the people on this call. My first presentation I ever seen in network marketing when I was just like 18 years old, a guy started talking about 6 figures a month. I'm like, I'm not even making 6 figures a year. What is he talking about? But it was always kind of a goal, and it was a loose goal. But to get to the point where you finally did that, which took me 10 years to do that monthly, and here 48 hours. And that's not bragging on any of us on the panel, because if someone can do this, what can the others do? And really quickly, when we're just wrapping up the last call for the group that didn't make the early call, I remember you and I were banging heads late one night talking about the pay setter pool, the bonus, the higher one for getting 3. We're trying to wait that out and figure out how to put it together. And you said something that I hated and loved at the same time. You're like, Kevin, the idea is not to make you and I stinking rich. The idea is to help as many people as possible be able to reach that, so we can have thousands of people getting it. So if you could just share a little bit about, because people just think this is just some deal, and we say it's a smart contract being run by a robot, but if you can give some of your vision as to how this was constructed and what you're truly trying to achieve with what you put together, because I think that gets lost in all the contract and verbiage and crypto and blockchain. What's in your head, and what did you put into this, the feeling? Make it personal.
Yeah, absolutely. We've all probably experienced, let me back up and say it this way. You're going to hear me say a lot that the goal of D.AI.SY is to be a disruptive model, right? When I use the word disruptive, what I mean is disrupting something at its intrinsic core value. I mean, truly disrupting the model of something. So, we've seen, in our industry, we've all seen, a lot of companies come in that use that word disruptive, but typically it's just another version of the same thing. Right. And so that's not disruption. Disruption is not just a version 2.0 or 3.0 of the same thing. A disruption comes when you really take the limit off of some element or elements of the core model of something, and you remove those limitations, and then it goes to the next level. It becomes a disruptor. Uber was a disruptive model because it changed just a couple of the bottlenecks, a couple of people's emotional feelings about taxes, and now this new model of Uber started to emerge. They made a couple of small changes. They were still giving rides. The fundamental principle was the same. They're giving rides to people who need transportation. But they changed a couple of core elements to their model, and they came in and just disrupted an entire industry. Another great example of this is Netflix. If you remember how quickly Netflix was able to adapt. Does anybody remember when you would order Netflix DVDs? You would order a Netflix DVD. I want you to remember that. It wasn't that long ago. And they would send you a DVD. And this was their first step towards disruption. It doesn't sound very disruptive. They were the same DVD that you would go to Blockbuster to buy or Redbox to rent. Now, prior to Redbox, Netflix said, hey, we're going to ship DVDs. We're going to mail DVDs. That was not just, it was a step towards disruption. They were asking the question. There's an existing audience of people who watches movies that they rent. How do we capture that market? So in the early phase of Netflix, their first big idea was, we'll ship them. We'll ship DVDs. They were attempting to be disruptive. But the market shifted very quickly. Redbox showed up, and all of a sudden people realized, I don't have to wait a day for a shipment. I don't have to wait in line in a store. I can, in my own privacy, walk up to a machine and rent the DVD. So immediately Netflix had to outthink the market again and put the infrastructure together for online broadcasting. And their first attempt at disruption, which was mailing DVDs, was only a step in another direction of eliminating DVDs entirely. What did not change? You got to watch a movie. You got to watch a movie in the highest quality. You got to watch a movie sometimes for a limited period of time, but now you never had to leave your home and you never had to wait on, it was on-demand movies and television. And it was disruptive. Same experience, different delivery mechanism, different model driving it, right? So this is what disruption does. Amazon did the same thing. Think about Amazon. Think about the biggest, most disruptive company in the world. Number one. And they started as a bookstore. They started as an online bookstore. That was the big idea. The big idea was let's mail people their books. But from that first step into disruption, it created an environment for bigger ideas to come. And eventually they understood we can disrupt the entire retail model of shopping, much more than just the book industry. And it became Amazon. So for D.AI.SY, I love this industry. This industry changed my life. This industry transformed who I am as a person. It put me on a personal development journey. It changed my family's legacy. I love this industry. I love the people in this industry. Some of my closest friends are friendships from this industry. And some of my deepest experiences inside myself came facing fear, having breakthrough moments, challenging your own limited belief systems about what you deserve and who God made you to be. You go through that journey, you go through that process, and I have a love for this industry for so many of those reasons. But at the same time, as we progress through the industry and you start to see things and experiencing things, there's some big limitations that are on this industry, some big limitations on the model of this industry. And, our inner circle is all, many who are on this webinar tonight, we've been talking for a long time. We always are talking about new ideas and we're always challenging some of those limitations of the system. And that's really what just led to D.AI.SY. We saw smart contracts come into the market, something that I'm a big believer in outside of our industry is blockchain and smart contract and this whole decentralized environment. Huge advocate of this. Never have connected that with our industry, but a huge advocate in that. And we saw companies come in and we saw how the market said, yes, we want something more transparent. We want a higher level of transparency. And so we said, let's create a model though that not only offers transparency, but actually outsmarts everything else that's out there when it comes to the actual offering that it has. If we can create the most value to the customer from a non-network marketing perspective, from a non-referral plan perspective, and we can bring value to people just as contributors, as members of the community who are contributing to the Endotech project. And if we can deliver value there and take the limits off of the referral model, say, okay, everyone wins, everyone's safe, the people have something of value, but now we have this amount over here that we can turn the throttle on and say, what would a dream referral plan look like? And that's what turned out to be D.AI.SY. It's saying we wanted a 100% transparent model that brought financial value to every member, not just some members. And then we wanted to create from that the most aggressive peer-to-peer story and referral model that was possible so that we could disrupt the industry.
Jeremy, I want to value your time, and we've got such great people on the panel here. Is it okay if I open it up to different questions, things like that? Super. Let me go ahead and bring it over to golly, the guy that I've admired for a long time. I know of you, Hugh. Let me go ahead and open up to you. If you open up your mic, ask any questions. You're just a legend, man.
Hey, Angel, thanks for that. How are you all doing, guys? I'm over here in Ireland. It's nearly 1:30 a.m. and the D.AI.SY chain hasn't stopped, guys. We've done a lot of business in the first 3 weeks before the first launch, and we didn't sleep, guys. We worked almost as hard as Jeremy. If Jeremy did 21 hours, I did 20 hours. We worked really, really hard, and then we got disappointed, I suppose, with the first blip. And you have to think about people like Usain Bolt. I mean, when he goes to the Olympics, he comes home with three gold medals, and he only runs on the track for less than 10 seconds to get the first gold. He runs for less than 10 seconds in the 400 by 1 to get the next gold, and then he runs less than 20 seconds to get the third gold. So he runs for 40 seconds and takes home the big prize. And guys, we've run really, really hard, but Usain Bolt has to work 4 years. 4 years, 6 o'clock in the morning, change his diet, change his sleep, change his thought process, put in the effort, build the muscle for one event 4 years later. And we've come down the track here for probably 4 weeks. And, you know, we think the race is over, guys. The race hasn't begun. It hasn't begun. And I see some people edging off their effort in these last 3 or 4 days, thinking, well, I'll wait till it starts. Well, guys, when the race runs, I can tell you the Usain Bolts in the world are ready and prepared to take advantage of that kickstart. And you need to be using this time like you did the previous, I call that the pre-launch. We're now going into the soft launch. You need to put that same effort into your business, guys, and start driving this. So my team, we struggle, I suppose, over here. I'm in Europe, and Europe, we have English, yes, but we also have German and French and Polish. We have Ukraine, we have Slovakian, Slovenian, so many languages. And for me to do a presentation in English is easy, but when you have to do it English and get it translated into Austrian or German, it takes twice as long to present the same deal you can present in 30 minutes. And it makes the work twice as tough and twice as painful, but the rewards are beautiful. And I want to just thank the founders for their, I suppose, their persistence, their belief in the project. They know it better than we know it, that this is going to be very, very big. And I'm excited because of the product. I mean, I don't look at the founders. I don't look at Endotech. I look at the product. Can we bring value to the market? And I believe we can. We can get the benefit of institutional trading. We can enter that market for as little as $100 in this crowdfunding model as a contribution. And that, guys, is going to be very, very special. And once we see those trading rewards starting to come in, those honest trading rewards, I think this is a game changer because it's a product that'll lead it, not the comp plan. The comp plan, you know, the comp plan's brilliant as well, but I think the product, once that kicks in, everything changes. Everything changes. And what we must be respectful of, we must be respectful of the industry we're in. The industry in this last 5 years got heavily into cryptocurrency and these silly little coins that these companies do. And I very often find when it's tied to network marketing, they're not the right coin to be in. And then we got into the kind of smart contracts and people taking their money out daily. People love daily rewards, passive rewards. And I thought about this and I've realized the only reason people took their money out daily because they didn't trust the company. They wanted to take their money out fast before the company closed its doors. And we need to change that culture. We need to learn how to compound. We need to learn how to stay in the business. Because if you keep taking out your rewards, your contribution is still where it was. You can't actually compound the benefit. And if we can teach people to focus on the crowd side, get your income from the crowd, get your income from building the network, get your income from the pace setter, and let the wealth creation develop in the product through compounding, that's where the stories will be told. And that's where we're going to bring in the business owners and the conventional business owners. Conventional business owners will move some of their budgets and some of their assets into these digital assets with D.AI.SY. And I believe that will really, really change the face of what we're doing here. So I have no questions really to ask. I was going to ask one question about the equity in the company. And when you put in $100, you get 1 share. And when you put in $300, you get 3. But is it 1 plus 3, or is that accumulation down the right-hand side, Jeremy?
That slide that you're talking about, that's accumulation. So it's 1 share for every $100.
Okay. So it's
Awesome.
accumulated to the right hand side. Okay.
1 share plus
Thank-
2, 3 shares. If somebody bought packs 1 and 2, they'd have a total of 3 shares.
Super. Thank you so much, Hugh. Thank you, Jeremy. I'd like to now, let's go over to Australia. We got Phil and Beck over there. Guys, yeah, thanks for being here. You got any questions, guys? Obviously.
Hi, thank you so much for the invite to be on here, guys. It's absolutely amazing people on here. Yeah, we're very excited about what's happening, and can't wait for the launch like everyone else. So we've been building over here as well. I do have one question that one of our people have asked, is that just try to managing their expectations a little bit, because the matrix, there are big numbers in the matrix. When you look at it, it's like nothing that we've ever seen in the industry before. But trying to manage expectations, people are asking, okay, how realistic is some of these numbers, and what time frame do you think some of our targets, we're saying we're going for hundreds of thousands, even millions of people to join the community. I know we're part of that wave, and we're contributing to that wave, but as a company or as a community, what's the likelihood, and how far away are we from getting to fill up, let's say, at the first level of matrices and things like that? Do you believe?
Yeah, so we have, I know the number. There's 55,000 total, that have joined. There's a so that would put us. I don't know what the levels are, but as far as the matrix filling, I don't know. I don't know that. There's no way to predict that number, right? Because I want to make sure everybody understands that the way to build a matrix is pretend like you don't have a matrix. You want to build a matrix, pretend like you don't have a matrix. Go out and build as if it all rests on your shoulders and you're building it. And that's where when you do that, you wrap everybody around you into that momentum. And when everybody gets pulled into that momentum and everybody's having this mindset and everybody's doing their part, this creates the push of the matrix, right? That's what you want. You don't want drip over. You want spill over, right? You want like a waterfall coming over the edge, right? Kind of spill over. So I'm a big believer that we have to become what it is that we want, right? And so here's what we've seen: the spillover makers are the spillover takers. The ones that have been engaged in the build are somehow finding themselves around momentum. And for people that are not engaged in the build and they're just waiting, they're typically attached to someone who's also just waiting, and there's nobody leading yet that momentum, right? So you've got some organizations that are just pouring over right now, right? I mean, the first 5 days, it was just unbelievable stories. You have other people going, dude, where's my spillover? Where's my spillover? I don't have any spillover. And the real question that people should be asking is not where's my spillover, but where's my leader? Where's my next presentation? Where's my plan of action? Where, right? This is the mindset. The questions we ought to be asking is, where's the fire? Where's the heat? Let me get around the heat, because if you get around the fire, the momentum, it means you're connected with and you're working with people that are creating that momentum in your upline. And that's just the name of the game, and it's no different. So unfortunately, a matrix can create this idea of something for nothing. And it is true that there will be many people who will have spillover and they will never refer a single person, and they're going to earn. It's already happening, right? And so we know that's part of the possibility. But if you want to control that outcome, not just hope for it, then you have to line up with the team that your upline that's on fire. Get where the fire is in your upline. Find the leader in your upline who's building, and get close to that heat, get close to that fire, because there is no spillover without leaders creating that spillover. And every person who is a part of that launch on January 10th started with zero spillover. Every person that launched in the beginning started with zero spillover. Many of those leaders came in and said, listen, we will create the spillover. Let's just work together. And so you got to realize the people who came first had to create the spillover. There was nowhere else for it to come from. And that's what your leaders decided to do. The stories that you've heard are not from people who got lucky with spillover. The stories that you heard were people that took action. Every single one of them are people that took action. They launched their businesses. They did webinars. It's going to be the exact same with phase two. So, you know, how long does someone's matrix fill up, or those questions? The answer to that is it's like any other business is. It's based on what you do. It's based on what effort you put in. And I think more than any other model, it's based with building relationships and working with the leaders around you, above you in the matrix, so that you're working together to keep the team plugged in and keep the fire lit.
Jeremy, thank you. I want to be cautious of the time. Obviously, speaking of leaders, we got Yuri here. He's international builder. He's over in Russia, running Moscow to Europe. Yuri, do you have a quick question?
You know, I'm sleeping 5 hours per day. So, hi, Jeremy. And, you know, I know what to do. I don't need babysitter. And today I did 2 different webinars for my European. You know, I got double diamond, triple diamond, blue diamond, and different ambassador. You know, I'm working hard, and no question. What spillover? You know, I'm doing spillover. Actions speak louder than the word. You know, I always tell teamwork make dream work. Just plug in to your top sponsor, top upline, and that's it. Teamwork make dream work. Okay. Great presentation, Jeremy.
Yuri, we appreciate you.
I got problem with my Norton. I got problem with my Norton. You know, I got totally new computer, and they got Norton, and they kick me out. I try again, they kick me out. Right. You know,
appreciate it. Thank you, Yuri. Thanks so much. We're gonna and man, you've made tens of millions of dollars. You're traveling around the world. Thanks for all you're doing. Appreciate it. Let's go over and talk to Frank. Frank, you're an icon. You know, you have any questions, everything for anybody here, or some insights?
Well, yes. Good morning here from Thailand, 8:37. You know, I'm just listening to everything. Really, after Hugh Paul Ward, I don't think there's much else to say. But I was just ruminating on something here for a minute. And those of us who have small children, think about the word angst, which is a wonderful word in the English language. And I used to drive. They're adults now, but there were at one point 4 young children would drive to our lake home every weekend, and on the way there, it was always, "Daddy, are we there yet? Daddy, are we there yet?" And you know, even an answer like, "No, sweetheart, we'll be there in 15 minutes." But how long is 15 minutes? You know, and so I'm thinking about the field today and the angst, of course, because of the expectation, right? I mean, if we were all waiting for something terrible to happen, there wouldn't be any angst, but it's the expectation of something marvelous happening. And I don't know what made me think of this, but all I know is whenever I would get to the lake home, the angst would vaporize in a moment, and the kids were all busy playing and having fun. And I know that this angst that the field is feeling right now, and some of them very intensely, will vaporize before the end of this week. So we as leaders just have to sort of patiently coax them through this waiting period. That's all I wanted to say. I don't have any questions. Thanks to everybody else for their great contributions.
Thanks, Frank. Really appreciate it. Curtis, man, you're on fire also up in Canada. Super guy. I think what, Curtis, I talked to you recently. You sponsored like 88 people personally. Man, well, how's everything going? You got any questions? Tell us what's going on.
Well, first off, I'd just like to thank Jeremy and the founders that are putting this all together. You know, all the work and time that you're putting in for everybody to have this great opportunity and experience to help change people's lives. So thank you very much, Jeremy. Angel, Josh, John, I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. Thank you very much for being such great friends and mentors, and everybody on this panel. I don't know what to say. I mean, you know, I'm just super happy about what's going on here. I don't really have any questions. maybe just give some advice is, the team that I've assembled, we're all pushing hard. When it kind of shut down on us, we decided we were going to keep going. We're thinking like, hey, you know what? This is extra pace setter time, and we're all going to do what we can to get it. Yeah. And so, just the other day there, I brought in 17 people in one day, and I'm just like, you know what? I've heard about spillover before, guys. Never much experienced it before, but we have we have a platform and a system where, for once in the 5 years that I've been working online, can I go to somebody and say, you can make some money here. Everybody's going to win. Finally, we have a system and a platform where everybody can win. And that's all I've ever wanted, was for everybody to join something and truly win, get results first. And hey, if that's what they need, then they can go out and share it with the world. And so we're experiencing on our team, people that were coming in there, they weren't going to recruit. They weren't going to do nothing like that. And here they are, they're recruiting. People are it's growing like a weed or like fire. It's spreading so fast. And, I wouldn't be around here if it wasn't for my team. So, you know who I'm talking to. I love and appreciate you all. The teamwork and the system that we have set up. All of us that are just massive recruiters are recruiting. And then the people that are not big recruiters, they're helping all of the people that are coming in so that us guys that love recruiting and do what we do best can continue to recruit. And so everybody understands that it's just, teamwork makes the dream work. And so what's happening and what I'm experiencing, I'm just extremely grateful. And that, I don't know, I'm just, the joy and the happiness and the gratefulness I share with my team and with you guys. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's just kick some butt and blow this thing up.
Thank you so much, Curtis. Really great to hear from you. Let's go over to Rufus now. Rufus, can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Hey,
Kelvin. Oh man, thank you so much, Mr. Kelvin and Jeremy. I know within this very few period, I've really learned a lot. And one thing that I love so much about this very project is about the product. I feel so excited because I've been in this space. I've done few things and I've achieved few results. And I've always had difficulty whereby the leaders, you make money and the people beneath you don't make money. It's been a normal thing. Even in my last company, I broke some record there, but it's all about just the leaders making money and a lot of people don't make any money. Our company will promise and over just a short period of time, everything will be screwed up. They fizzle out of business or they misbehave, this kind of thing. We've seen a lot of shit like this. And when I was invited for this project, and the very first time, I think I loved everything Mr. Kelvin shared in this project. I feel so fascinated. And then I stayed close, most especially to Kelvin and Jeremy. Most of the videos you did, I watched them back to back. I saw the vision, I saw the honesty, I saw that this man was speaking from the heart. I got excited. I went out there to go and assemble a team. We're really growing. The only problem I'm having right now is a lot of people asking me every single second, please, when are we going? When are we going? Why are these people delayed? Not this kind of shit, because they are so excited about the whole project. And I'm just hopeful that this week we will let this thing out of the bag and people will be able to come in. I really have no question because I paid attention to the camp plan very, very well. And me, myself, I see few results in the effects for the 8 hours when I came in. And outside that, the only question I think I have, somehow, Sahul touched it a little, where people are expecting, asking me about when the equity from the endotech, when will you roll out, those kind of stuff. But I think those are the only angle I had questioned, and when would the result from the trade start dropping? So I think this was just the few questions I have, but about momentum and about spillover, I am a very strong believer in raising leaders. I don't believe working with followers. It's been my mentality. right from time. And that is why even while I was able to give spillover to my first liners personally, because I'm bringing people, I told them you have to replicate the same thing to make this thing happen. In my team now, the culture is once you join, you will be creating your own group, adding your own people. And we have multiple groups. Like in my own group, I have done very few people, but from me now, there are a lot of either WhatsApp group people have gone out there to create, wanting to lead and all this kind of stuff. So they are so excited because we want survival. We want to make this thing happen with this company because we've seen something for the very first time that promises the opportunity of everyone winning. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. And I want to thank you, Mr. Calvin, thank Jeremy, and thank Paul. So these guys have been really great, most especially your training you did, I think last week was so amazing. We appreciate everything you guys are doing, and we're here following your footsteps. Thank you.
Thank you, Rufus. I appreciate it. And well, last but not least on the list here, I mean, you guys are just all incredible. Everybody in this panel, you're here representing, thousands and thousands of people in each of your teams, millions and millions of dollars. So thank you for being on here. Let's bring up Rob. Rob's a good guy, good gentleman I just made a friendship with recently. What a fantastic leader, legend in the space. Rob, you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, and that I can think of. I might think of a couple why I say thank you and everything like that, and a couple of comments and kind of observations. Everybody in this space, I know, has been in the industry for a long, long time. Frank has been in here probably when my grandfather was alive. There's 30, 40-year-old guys. I've been in the space now for, I think my first networking deal was like 1993. It's been a real pleasure. Some of the people that you like my Seahawks shirt. Yeah. Well, we got taken out in the playoffs too soon, but I never I never knew Jeremy before. I think I heard his name maybe. And I've been a company owner. A lot of you guys have been company owners. Everybody here is a 7-figure earner. I've been in a lot more deals, of course, than I can count, as in everybody that's on the panel, and probably a ton of people that are on here. So I guess the first thing that I would say is what impressed me the very most about this and continues today to impress me. I love the Indotech story. I love the firsthand testimonials, whether that be from you, Angel, whether hearing from Jeremy, listening to John Wolfpack talk about I'm a customer overall of Indotech. So I echo everything that every person here is saying about I want something that everybody can win in. And for me, the most important thing of anything is the relationships. And probably everybody in this, in the room here would say in a networking deal, I'm pretty outspoken saying I have a love-hate affair with networking. I very much like to live by honesty, transparency, authenticity. And it's not about what I can make today, but it's really the long-term relationship that I value so much, because, there's always another deal down the road. And so the very first webinar that I got on, the very first Zoom that I got on was, back in the very beginning. And I had the opportunity, I said, okay, let's take for granted the Indotech part is, solid. I really, check that box. There's enough people saying I've been a customer. It's researchable. And I feel confident that I'll make some money on that part. My experience, my question really had focused on the smart contract itself, which is obviously what we're talking about right now. And it was a question that I asked Jeremy. And I was blown away by the answer that he gave me. And, it's a complicated kind of a deal. He's talking about, we got a great development team, and Indotech, we kind of meet in the middle. I'm kind of thinking of like the English Channel. One side meets the other side. I'm like, cool, there's independent auditing of this, kind of a deal. It's not just some knucklehead that's in Ukraine that's, had too much to drink at a wedding or something like that. Like another deal that, I was in, actually, Frank and I were in. Nice people, but like just not high competency, okay? Just to keep it real. I like the people in there, but they just didn't impress me nice people, but not very competent. In contrast, when I got an answer from Jeremy, man, he just like stuck the landing, every single thing. He was like, he didn't hesitate. It was like, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this, we're doing this. And it wasn't even a Zoom where I could see him. I was actually driving in the car, and I was blown away at his answer. Similarly, going forward into, hey, everybody, we're going to stop. That was the Zoom and the meeting that the message that Jeremy did with Dr. Anna, a couple other people. Generally, that's not a positive message, you know. It really is not. But here's the reason I say that. I thought about that, and I sat there and I studied Jeremy actually, and I'm like, this guy is kind of different, man. He's got these different mannerisms with his hands and how he does different things. It's really kind of odd. I mean, it's intriguing. And I was like, he's kind of Tony Robbins-ish. Now, I don't want to put him on a pedestal or anything too much or anything like that, but anybody that's kind of paying attention would know he does these weird kind of things. I don't want to say weird. I'm not trying to de-edify, but how he uses his hands and these expressions, these sayings that he comes up with. And I was like, I like this guy. Like, this guy is obvious. He's super, super, super freaking smart. Okay. And you could spin that message of we're going to, hey, everybody, you know, we're going to need to shut, we're going to need to close down, we're going to need to do this. And he made it into this grand freaking thing. Like, it was like this, it was going to be even better. Like, because we were going to, hey, we're going to stop. And it wasn't like, hey, everybody, we're going to stop and this gives you an opportunity. It was this great thing. Like, and so I continue to be impressed even now on it as I'm looking at him and I'm listening to him. And so a lot of this whole thing, to kind of bring this into a landing, it's all based on trust, right? And so we don't know what the future is going to be, you know, but we glean trust and confidence from everybody else. Yeah. And so the thing I'm probably the most impressed by so far, and I love Angel. He's been great. He's personable. It's one of those networking kind of deals that, you know, they don't know what you know, or I forgot what the saying is. You know, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. This guy calls me, follows up with me. He really comes through authentically that he cares. And we already knew each other. We developed a very good friendship. But from a leadership perspective, from a visionary perspective, okay, I look at Jeremy and I'm like, damn, this guy like really believes, okay? I take it at granted that he's a good guy, because we all know there's not good guys in this space. There's too many people that are not good guys. But he comes through very authentically to me. He impresses me as being highly competent, compassionate, and caring about people, and a visionary. That's probably one of the things that's really the most impressive to me, is he has this contagious visionary kind of attitude. And so, you know, I go back all the way back to the very first comment that I made after he asked I asked this question about very specific about how the construction of the smart contract was going. Was anybody's hand going to be programmed in the cookie jar? You know, was it going to pull off? And I'm cool with the fact that actually it didn't. This is complicated stuff. I believe fully in what a smart contract is. And after he answered that question for me, and I was literally, the first thing I could say is, wow, like I'm blown away by the answer that you gave. And then the secondary part of my comment was, dude, who are you? How do I not know who you are? Like, what a badass answer. So I'm just trying to call a spade as a spade. And it's, you know, so I'm impressed. So that's all that I wish I had a question to ask, you know, but I don't. I just want to
you are super.
Angel, we got to close this webinar up, because I've got the next webinar. Once I go to the next webinar, it's going to shut this down.
Thank you. So last words up to over for you, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Jeremy.
Awesome. Yeah. So guys, yeah, absolutely. Bottom line is, you know, we're slowing down in order to speed up, and it's necessary. We did what was never been done before, so we had things to learn, and it's great. I was talking to the guys that said it's kind of like, you know, the Wright brothers when, you know, who created flying. That first flight, that first liftoff, it wasn't, you know, they flew for 30 seconds or whatever it was, and they landed, you know, on the other side of the field, right? It was like from here to here, right? But it was a huge win because it validated it's flying is possible. And then they went back, made the tweaks they had to make in order to be able to really take flight. So, you know, I feel like that we've done that. We took flight, and now we have to tweak the wings a little bit so that we can stay in the air, right? We can go to the moon, but you know, it's worth it, right? And that's at the end of the day. I think that's where we all have to find our leadership, our influence, and say, hey, do I believe that it's going to be worth it, right? And that there's, you know, by being in this early and this part of a tech project, this, you know, to have to be one of the visionaries, all of us together leading as pioneers, that's a high role. That's a big role, right? It's a big role to say, hey, you have to really go deep and say, do I believe that it's going to be worth it? Do I believe that if I stay locked in this community and move towards the relaunch of D.AI.SY and put my energy into that pre-launch or now the soft launch, is it going to be worth it? And the answer, guys, is absolutely yes. Anybody who locks arms and moves with us into this relaunch, and you're on the front end of this relaunch, the relaunch is going to be way, way bigger than the pre-launch that had so many challenges, and it was only the first 5 days, et cetera. This relaunch, those that are pushing into it, that are getting ready for it. And I think the name of the game is pace setter. I think the magic of this whole model is reach pace setter gold and teach other people, help other people do the same thing. And that's how you max it out. Guys, literally, I've got to end this webinar.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.